Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Omega Files. Tonight we've gathered to discuss what happens when superheroes date and it goes incredibly wrong. That's right, tonight, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, a movie that's meant to be a sequel that's kind of leading into Batman, and then it goes into Justice League, and then I have no idea. Actually, why don't we just call it what it is? Batman vs. Superman, we're catching up to Marvel. All right, but let's go ahead and let's get everybody's intros real quick. Let's start with William. Say hello.
Evening, everybody.
Okay, AJ.
Pinch and a punch for the first day of the month.
Susan.
Hello, everyone.
Beefhead.
I bleed, but only at rare intervals.
And coming back after a long time, Nightwing.
Hey guys, I'm back. Blame work.
Now that you're back, and you've adopted the name Nightwing, what did it feel like saying like the dead Robin suit in that one scene? I have to get that out the bat.
Just no. It's apart from the dead Robin suit, but it was just such a bad movie.
Okay, but we're gonna get more. Let's get opening thoughts. We're gonna start with that. All right, let's screw up the order a little bit. Let's start with AJ. Opening thoughts on Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice, and this title is too damn long.
So bad. Oh, so bad. I felt a lot of the acting was either stale or trying too hard to be too good, but it wasn't either. It was neither here nor there. Don't wear your finger. But overall, yeah, it was a pretty average movie, I'm sorry to say.
Talking to somebody else. Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, let's jump over to Susan. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a really fun romp. I thought there was so much good stuff going on with the characterizations of Batman and Superman, and I had a really great time watching it with some of my friends in Oakland, California. So, yeah, that's my initial response.
Okay, Beefhead.
It's a hell of a mountain to climb. There are good aspects to it. There are other aspects that don't work. If you put it as a whole package, you are missing parts to it, which overall does bring it down. There is a lot to say about this movie that is good. A lot of people are very quick to jump on it and slate it and dredge it, and wouldn't go and watch it on the strength of what they read review-wise. But there are redeeming points to it. But the main problem with this is it's Superman, and it's the Superman sequel, and Superman is wrong. So if your core part of that movie isn't going to work, overall the package is disappointing.
Okay, what about you, Nightwing?
I mean, I was going into it, trying to think that it was going to be like possibly one of the best, trying to rival Marvel, but it was nowhere near. I basically went into it thinking it was going to be like rivaling Marvel, but it was nowhere near. I'm not the only person. Obviously, again, we've just had AJ and other people. I've heard other people. Not just people from here, people from like school or college, and friends of mine, and also other websites saying it's a bad movie. I just looked at Rotten Tomatoes. They said that it was like 27% or something like that, and that's quite low for a movie coming out in this day and age. And the fact that the acting was a bit corny. I mean, the fact that it was supposed to be Batman versus Superman and then turn into a battle between against a bigger enemy. And the fact that we had like all the other different plot points going on in between, it was just like, it makes me think that we're going to have pretty much a hard time in the next few years for the DC films.
Okay, all right. What about you, William?
All right. For starters, the title was misrepresenting. Yes, they did fight a little bit in the movie, but not the way they made it. Since this movie been around in development for more than 2 years. So the way we were hearing it was going to be an all-out full battle during the whole length of the film. But it didn't happen. like Beef said, Superman was represented wrong in the movie, considering he's supposed to be a symbol of hope, and you could say that what every man would like to be in the way they showed him in the comic, but the way they show him in the movies, like you saw him not in a good light like that. Of course, everybody it was complaining of the acting of Lex Luthor. We're gonna bring that up later. That's we're gonna bring that up. They had you can say they had too many things put in here. You had Wonder Woman show up, then you had the little cameos of the other members of the Justice League. You brought up Doomsday, and you also like sort of copied 2 comic book storylines to put it in this. You can say a very long movie, because even though the theaters is 2.5 hours long, that's a 3-hour plus version that's going to be put on DVD. So that's going to be a very time consuming there. And it's not a bad movie, but it just did put too much into it. It's too much put into it. That's what they say. It's too much. We're going to nitpick other things in a few minutes right now.
Okay, yeah, because I agree. It was too damn long. There was too much going on. There were too many plot lines put in there. But one of the number one things I've always heard is that if you're going to have a story, especially if it involves conflict, the story itself only stands upon the strength of your villain, your antagonist. And then who the frilling hell thought this was going to make Lex Luthor? I think they should be taken out in the street and beaten until they regain some sense. This kid could not act his way out of a wet paper bag in this movie. The villain was a complete farce. He was a poor man's Joker. It was sad. It was pathetic. Not to mention, how many here is sitting with me right now even knew why the hell he put them against each other in the first place? What was
exactly. You can't understand his motivation for it. If you think about the previous films that have gone before, Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor, the first movie, it was a real estate scam. In fact, if you look at Superman Returns, that was real estate because he wanted his own island. But you don't understand what he's going to get out of it. That he's put 2 years of his life into, setting up this scenario to achieve to what ends. It just makes no sense.
Can I just say that everything that Jesse Eisenberg does is just a pile of shit?
And there goes our rating.
Who cares? Anyway, remember they were trying to release an R-rated version of this movie in the theaters.
That would never work.
To compete Deadpool. That made no sense there. But we heard that Bryan Cranston was supposed to play Lex Luthor.
Yeah, but apparently that he was a little bit outside their budget. Meanwhile, they blew how many, hundreds of millions of dollars on this thing in the first place.
The budget was $250 plus the $153 of advertisement. That's $403. I mean, it made his money back. But that's a lot of money to spend, man.
Yeah, but look at Deadpool.
The advertising they did with a lot. Oh.
No, go ahead.
Deadpool did $58 million and it made over $700 million.
That's what, but you could, and they show that you don't have to waste that kind of Batman v Superman budget.
Yeah, exactly.
To get returns.
Deadpool was such a low budget, but it made it back quickly because it was an unpredictable. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about that because Deadpool is such much of a better film.
Much better.
Well, I would say from the sense as well, though, that I think Deadpool, you could the budget it was working at, you could afford to take risks because that's a small drop in the ocean. I suppose you could have also said. No, I was going to say, you're making something that's going to be the foundation of your DC cinematic universe, and they're pouring in all this money into it and everything like that. You want to make sure that you get the product right and play, in essence, to a certain degree, play it safe and make it work. And I've got to say, the director is just the wrong person for it.
Like I said, it wasn't a complete steaming turd. There were parts of it I really did enjoy. There were great performances in there. Matter of fact, Affleck actually did a lot better than I thought he was going to do.
Yep, you got to give him props. You got to give him props. He played so him being Bruce Wayne and doing the investigation as Bruce Wayne was a great thing to do. It's to show that he don't have to be in costume to do his job, which was great.
Okay, Susan, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that Affleck was trying to downplay it and to pull his performance down a bit, and I don't know that was necessary, but he when he was in his three-piece suit or whatever, he looked like a rich man out on the town. He looked the part of a million billionaire. He was able to pull that kind of demeanor off, and then of course as Batman he was masked and stuff, so his facial performance wasn't, but he did great physicality. The other person that I really liked was Holly Hunter. You talk about the villains in this thing. She was such a good villainess, and I didn't even know that she was going to be as the senator or whatever that chick was. That was, in my mind, she was a bigger villain than Lex Luthor, which is kind of a bit on the bad writing side of things. But really, she had such an evil persona, and she had so much like malice towards everything that was going on, and all the good things that people in Gotham and people in Metropolis wanted to pursue. She was undermining everything. I just love that. I thought that she did an excellent job as the evil.
I don't think she's evil.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, because you see, you have to think of the situation they were in. You have this being who has just shown up. He's claiming to be a good guy, but at the same time, you have no way of stopping this guy if he decides, I want to rule the earth tomorrow. What are you going to do about it? So you have to look at it. She's not exactly evil. I think it's like a lot of the people who are out there. She doesn't understand this person. She doesn't understand what he's here for, and fear is a big motivator. And I think that was the big thing with her, was she's like everybody else. Like like the one lady told her during the testimony scene at the beginning, he answers to no one, not even God. And it's like you have to put her in those shoes. You're a politician, and you've got this big indestructible juggernaut that can literally ape shit on you at any point, and there's not a thing you can throw at him that's going to stop him.
And she turns around and says to Lex, I'm going to block your import license for the kryptonite. So in essence, she's actually the sort of most honest character. She's an obstacle for your protagonist.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of villainy, full of villainy.
It's more like politician. That's what it is.
Yeah, one thing I do have to credit her for: why was she trying to talk like Margot Kidder through the whole movie? Did anyone else catch that? I'm not kidding. When I first saw this, I thought that was Margot Kidder. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, just me.
I was surprised. I was disappointed that her character seemed to be so derailed by a jar of piss. Really.
Oh yeah.
For someone with that much gumption and everything like that, it was surprised. I do think her character was, to be honest with you, a bit of a waste by the end of it, or her as an actress. I think they could have done more with her. Going back to what you were saying about Ben Affleck, him and Gal Gadot and Jeremy Irons were the best thing in that movie, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I actually prefer Ben Affleck to Christian Bale, and any other sort of cinematic iteration you can think of Batman, to be honest with you, because they got the balance right of the Bruce Wayne and the Bat, to be honest with you. So when Alfred turns around to him and says, Batman's yielded no information, but Bruce Wayne's got all this, so that you can't have one without the other. And not being funny, he looks in the suit, bulk. And one thing I would say, directing-wise and cinematic-wise, which is one thing Zack Snyder does really well, he does very pretty stuff, but he does a lot of crap stuff as well. But the pretty stuff, he moves like Batman. You can't argue with that. It looks like you imagine lifted off the page and moving spot on.
Go ahead, AJ.
The thing about the bat suit was it actually wasn't molded on Ben Affleck. It was molded on a different guy's body, and they just made it so he could still wear it. It's a different guy's physique on the outside of the suit.
So it just means that he had to double act. He had to act doubly hard, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's I read it on Facebook somewhere. This guy, he admitted that they molded the outside of the suit on his physique. Ben Affleck would wear it, but Ben Affleck did work out quite a bit for the movie, but he wasn't width-wise in the shoulders and all that.
But we've all smashed tyres with sledgehammers, haven't we? In the spin-off phrase. Yeah.
I did that 2 hours ago before cast.
Yeah.
Now, I had seen Daredevil, and I had seen, there's a few of Affleck's movies that have been big misses. Come on, none of us will forget Reindeer Games anytime soon. Or Geely, yeah, oh my goodness. But in this one, he actually excelled. He actually beat, all my expectations. I was like, oh, come on, it's Affleck. It's going to suck. And he did a really fantastic job. He fell right into the character. And so did Jeremy Irons as Alfred. He really, really knocked it out of the park. That slightly disgruntled yet funny as hell character.
Yeah, it was funny that Alfred was more funny than some of the other characters.
Yeah.
Master Wayne, you're too old to die young, not for any lack of trying.
Yeah. I'll be surprised if the Wayne children have any wine left in the cellar. That's a great line. And I like the fact as well is that he comes across like a sort of a grease monkey, to be honest with you, to a certain degree as well.
Yeah, he was doing the techie work in this one. That's right. I like that too. Oh, but like I said, getting back to the villains. Like I said, Eisenberg, I don't know who picked him, but come on, you don't do an older Batman and you don't do Superman, coming into this movie, and then you pick, oh look, there's Babyface who's going to, run the movie. Plus the fact they threw in the apocalypse thing and all that. You could have easily done this movie just based off of the building conflict between Batman and Superman and had probably a much better flick than if you just left Lex Luthor the frick out of it, left the apocalypse and all that crap out of it, and maybe introduced Wonder Woman as a side character getting involved as a third party to try to keep these two guys from beating the shit out of each other for no reason. Other than that, and it's like, I don't know why they threw all this other crap in other than, okay, let's catch up with the Avengers.
That's the reason why they threw all that in one movie to catch up with the Marvel cinema. See, the problem is, in the Marvel universe, you got, which is owned by Disney, you got one person in charge of the Marvel cinemas, which is Kevin Feige. You got one person, which is Kathleen Kennedy, who is in charge of the Star Wars films.
Yeah.
When it comes to the DC cinemas, you don't have one person in charge of it. It's all a bunch of suits putting their 2 cents in it. That's why you got such a big mess in this, and that's why it costs so much money to make.
Okay,
William, let me ask you a question. Can I ask William a question?
Go ahead.
Are there different heads for each different character?
No,
I mean, like a guy who's in charge of Superman, a guy who's in charge of Batman.
No, there's nobody in charge of the DC cinema. There's nobody. You got a bunch of suits, lawyers making decisions like that, and then they stick their 2 cents. And when the script is written, they add more stuff or change things. That's why a lot of fans got a little ticked off about Lex Luthor. That's what a lot of people on Facebook saying, that this is Babyface Luthor, and maybe that another actor should come in playing his father, the real Lex Luthor. That's the way they're saying it should be fixed like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Nightwing, go ahead. You had your hand up a minute ago.
I was going to say, I think I'm looking forward to the Lego Batman movie than I was now that I've seen the trailer. Than I am. I probably will enjoy it more than I will enjoy watching Batman vs Superman, just because of that really, really cheesy trailer alone. And that's saying something. And it's, because it was it looked like it was actually going to be a good movie, but it turned out to be such a disappointment. I think the only redeeming factor we got out of it was possibly maybe a brighter future for the DC cinematic universe, if that's what we're going to call it. And possibly, what was it?
A Wonder Woman movie?
And the Suicide Squad. The Suicide
Squad comes out in August.
I was going to say that's probably maybe what will redeem the DC cinematic universe. That movie alone, and then possibly maybe if DC decide to think about it. Problem I mentioned this to Philip. I mean, he'd be here to back me up on this, but I said to him that if you're a comic book fan or you know a little bit about the comics, it's nothing like it. You will not enjoy the movie. Just because if you know the comic book lore, or you know a little bit about the comics.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean about not liking it. But the thing is, they added so much little comic book stuff references, like Apocalypse, and all that other stuff. You have to be a comic book fan to understand it, and then explain it to someone who's watching the movie who never reads the comics. What are the symbols? Who's this kid that ran fast? Why he doesn't look like the character that we see in the CW Flash like that? You have to explain that kind of stuff.
See, I know a little bit about the comics, but I just didn't enjoy it at all. I could go on for like 20 minutes why I didn't enjoy it. I mean, Jesse Eisenberg for one is probably the biggest reason.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg's a good actor. I loved him in Zombieland, but this was not his character. This was just a joke.
I did like the bit at the end, though. I did like the bit at the end, if everybody knows what I'm on about. In the credits when he's in prison.
Yeah, he shaved his head.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't, there might be people out there that haven't seen it yet. That's what I was kind of...
That movie been out for over a month. You haven't seen it, you ain't going to see it.
But to say required to be Lex Luthor was a bald head, we could have every neo-Nazi in America playing Lex Luthor, for crying out loud. Gosh. I was like, why'd you even bother to waste your time? This guy, I'm sorry, at the end of the day, he was not Lex Luthor. He was a poor man's Joker at best.
That's what you hear on
Facebook. I'm scared of Jared Leto now.
That's what they're saying. That this is Luthor Jr. and let another actor come in as the dad, being the real Lex Luthor.
Well, if I was Lex Luthor Sr., I'd have had my balls cut to prevent another thing like that happening.
There are a lot of bits, like Will says, that are taken there for your die-hard comic book guys and everything like that. And I think that it does get lost in the mix. The along with Jesse Eisenberg, really, who is just like, I wish he wasn't in the movie. It takes an hour and 40 minutes to get to the fight you're supposed to get in the title, but the problem is, I think, is that, along with certain aspects of the direction and the interpretation, is the script, because you lack motivation. This is the one thing that Marvel have got right. Say, if you're going to put it on a par, you've got Batman versus Superman that we've had, and just coming out now, you've got Civil War. So you've got, in essence, the same two things. You've got superheroes opposing ideas and fighting each other. In Civil War, you know the reason why they're fighting. There's a core idea. Some of them fall on one side of the fence, some of them fall on the other side of the fence. That's why they fight.
Right.
But there's no reason for them to actually fight in this movie. There isn't really, because Batman's the world's greatest detective. They could have just said something to each other, and the fight needn't have taken place. But it's just there to try and give you a spectacle on screen, and that's where it does fall apart, I think, because you haven't got a really solid script and motivation for any of the characters.
It was kind of like the King Kong versus Godzilla of the 21st century, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's right. He's right. As far as I'm aware, there isn't actually a reason for them to be fighting.
Yeah, that made no sense why you hear Clark Kent saying bad things about Batman when
he hasn't really done anything. It should be the other way around.
Yeah.
Because technically, if you see, if you watch the beginning, obviously, if you watch the movie, you'll see the beginning. But as you see the beginning, Bruce Wayne literally loses one of his major businesses because of the,
No, it wasn't the business that he lost.
He lost a lot of people.
Right. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. But he lost pretty much everything in that split minute. So technically, it should have been Batman, not Superman, that started the fight.
See, that's another thing they never really explained. They claimed that for some reason he was bankrupting. I didn't even see that happen in the movie. I didn't see anything about him, losing his business.
There isn't. There isn't. He's, I like the fact that he's still living on the Wayne Manor estate, although the main building is wrecked. Whether that means it's still running on from the Nolan verse, as they call it, that he's living on a sort of, a little condo type thing on the edge of a lake or something like that, somewhere else on the ground.
That's one thing I didn't like, is because we've been so used to every Batman iteration, animated or in live action, or for instance, or in comics, having some sort of familiarity, living in the Wayne Manor.
Except for the last Nolan movie where he was living in a penthouse.
True.
But but you have to appreciate in this that he's been Batman for 20 years at this point, to be honest with you. So
True.
that you get right. You get the idea that he's old, he's sort of embittered and angry, resentful. That much I get. Even down to be honest with you, the opening stuff in Metropolis, where you do sort of have 9/11 echoes in the idea of the big dust cloud coming down the street and him being the one running towards it and the people running away. That's very effective and everything like that. So you do get that anger. You understand that from Batman. But yeah, I just still can't fathom out why they really fight.
Okay, the thing I didn't understand was the dream sequence in this movie. I mean, they had
you mean
The one with the apocalypse like that was like a foretelling.
Yeah. But it was like a prophetic dream, and like there was this, there were these Superman followers, and
that was the other dream that he thinks that Superman's gonna take over the world, and that will be the regime, the Superman regime, like that.
The Sons of Kal-El or something.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. One thing I do want to ask though is that I wasn't sure, but the guy that got shot that Lois was with, who was he? The
cameraman?
Jimmy.
Yeah, the cameraman was CIA.
Yeah,
Oh,
CIA, but there was theories it was supposed to be Jimmy Olsen, but
yeah. I heard somebody who I go to college with said it was Jimmy, and I said it's not. They would have mentioned him by name.
But at least something magical did come out of this movie. And it was kind of sad and touching to see Maggie and Negan from The Walking Dead getting killed off.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Lauren Cohen and Jeffrey Dean Morgan played
a man who dies in every role he plays, nearly as much as Sean Bean.
Kind of like Sean Bean, yeah.
You know what I want to see? You know what I don't want to see is the alternate version where Bruce dies, and his mum becomes the Joker. I mean, I know
that was a Flash Paradox storyline.
Yeah, I know. But I really want to see that in like live action.
How many here realized that the dream sequence wasn't a dream sequence right off?
No, I had to watch it again and realize that it was a message from the Flash.
Yeah, because I guess they were touching on, what was it, Flashpoint Paradox or something like that?
Yeah.
yeah, where it was time travel. Yeah.
Because I was like, wait a minute, if this is just a dream, then how come he's seeing the, I think that guy was the Flash, who, by the way, is a homeless bum in this universe or this movie, whatever. I still didn't get that. I'm like, but oh well.
He's Mexican Flash. What are you talking about? Yeah.
It's Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah, literally.
The Speedo Bandito.
Anyway, let me redirect. I want to talk about Henry Cavill. He did really great too. He did once again nail down Superman. He did a really good job with the character of Superman. Don't you think?
Yeah, but the problem was they made him too dark instead of him being the way he is in the comics. He's supposed to be a symbol for everybody to try to achieve that in their own way. Instead, everybody fears him and wants to kill him because they can't control him. That was the mistake written in the movie line. And this movie and the last Superman movie, that was the mistake that was put in there.
Okay, everyone who's under 18 or, please turn away from your monitor right now and go la, 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 la. How the hell's he boning Lois without blowing her up?
That's something he probably learned from in the Fortunes of Solitude from his father, him like that.
Is that like the Force? What the hell?
Like his mum said, make the world small.
Sorry, I have to ask the question.
He was a
they had to go
kryptonite
through the
condom.
last movie, or in the last series, back with Chris Reeve. He had to have his power strip before he could strip her, so to speak. And all of a sudden, okay, I'm Superman. Let's go at it.
He
Faster.
must have to have some sort of control on his powers when he's doing stuff like that.
He's the Man of Steel.
Kryptonite condom.
No, he said the Man of Steel, but he's faster than a speeding bullet. Oh, okay. All right. What do you want to say, AJ? I'm sorry.
It was a kryptonite condom.
No, that was.
That would literally destroy his.
Yeah.
That would literally destroy his.
See, the one big gripe about this movie was I don't know why they introduced Doomsday in this movie.
They could have saved that for another movie. That's what I'm getting at. That could have
They could have saved it for the first Justice League movie.
They could have saved that for later, like that, because first of all, his origin is not the way it is in the comics, so that got people ticked off. And then he had to bring him in. Since Luthor was in the spacecraft, he could have created Metallo right out of there.
Yeah.
Right there, Metallo.
That would have been personally a better villain.
That made no sense. And when they showed that in the sneak trailer, that got no positive review. People got really ticked off about that he was appearing like that. And then you borrow that, the Death of Superman storyline, into this movie, including and of course parts of the Dark Knight. I mean, people got really ticked off about it. I mean, there was some good parts in the movie, but when you add like again, you adding too much stuff.
And these books are Bibles. Yeah, certainly The Dark Knight Returns. It's you're stomping on our dreams on our.
No, I'm going to tell you another minor mistake I think they made with this movie, and I think it's going to bite them in the ass later down the line. One of the big things that has separated the Marvel movies, from the normal string is the fact that they have television series that are running concurrently along with the movies, such as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you have Agent Carter and whatnot. Yet, meanwhile, you had this prime opportunity to join it in with your DC TV series, and no, we're going to hire some stupid ass to play the Flash who isn't Grant Gustin.
No, I agree.
It should have been Grant Gustin. Because that way you could always tie it back between the TV show and the movies, and boom, you've got yourself a double header, just the same way Marvel's got going right now.
Well,
I suppose it would have paid if I know that they haven't actually done this with like any of the actual I'd imagine that it cost them a lot of money to have like I don't know Superman in Supergirl. I mean, obviously, we don't know if that's ever going to happen. It would cost a lot of money. Obviously, I don't think Stephen Amell, who plays obviously Arrow in the future, would be able to play off. I mean, he just about. I love watching Arrow. I don't think it would play off that well in movie as it does in TV.
No, but it would have brought in the television audience.
True. I don't think it would have made great movie, same amount, because TV and movie is obviously two different things, and obviously the way you're either a TV actor or a movie actor, you're not both. Normally anyway.
But here's the other big two bonuses, though. You can bring these two characters straight into the Justice League movie without having to waste money on an origin flick for each of them because you've already done it on television.
True. I mean, I suppose it would make a lot of people go out and get a Netflix account just to watch all the episodes, or find it online. But I suppose
supposedly,
it would make a hell of a lot of money.
To be honest with you, I think Stephen Amell could bounce off of any actor any day of the week. I think he's a great actor. He's got the physique. He does most of his own stunts. So right there, boom, you've got a triple threat.
Also, it would have been cool to have John Barrowman in the.
Now, Barrowman, I don't know.
Remember, he's a villain, so that'd be weird to put him in a movie.
That would be kind of weird, yeah, because he was Ra's al Ghul for a while. Now he's the one-headed whatever it is. Maybe they ought to call him Handjob. I don't know. Okay, what is it?
Go ahead, AJ.
I was going to say, I remember in the episode with Flash meets Supergirl that he mentions there is no Superman, there is no Supergirl yet in his universe. So after the movie came out, obviously they've sort of said, okay, well, we're not part of it. We don't want to be part of it.
No, they did that after they decided to go with another Flash for the movie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why.
You see, like I said, right there, you could have been, if you're going to really want to catch up to Marvel, boom, right there, that would have done it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
golden age of these characters from like the 40s that they could have referenced?
You got to remember that in the comic book, the characters, the superheroes from the 40s, 40s and up to the 60s, they're considered the golden age, and they're from another Earth. So the Silver Age to now, from the Silver Age to now, that's you say Earth 1 heroes. Even though DC, I mean, I got nothing against DC Comics, but you got to stop revamping your universe every so bunch of years, because that's really taking people off.
And you've got to stop showing us the Batman origin. We all know by now that his parents died in Crime Alley. We know this. that opening part was just not needed. It's like Spider-Man. No one needs to know the Spider-Man origin.
That's why I'm happy this is not, the origin story is not happening again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They know now not to bother doing it because you don't need it, and I don't think you need it. That was just like a pointless waste of time to open the movie with, to be honest with you. Yes, it looked pretty with the pearls around the gun and the necklace breaking when the gun goes off, but insofar as we don't need to.
They've even done it in the Arkham games, the video games. They've even done the origin story in that way. In that.
Personally, I think the only way they could have made that a really interesting scene, they should have been gunned down by Norman Reedus.
Yeah, but the funny thing is about the pearl necklace thing. If you pull the pearl necklace, one pearl will come out, the rest of it won't fly off because each string has its own knot on it.
Yeah,
I found that out in the jewelry store that you would pull it, only one will hit the floor, not the whole thing.
That's how Zack Snyder rolls. He does that theatrical ass.
He got that scene from the Frank Miller one origin. That's why he copied it.
Okay, Susan, I think you're about to jump. Go ahead.
Yeah, Wonder Woman, wonderful introduction to her. I can't wait for her own movie. Come on, or DC, it's time for her own.
It's already being done.
It's already being done. Everybody saw a photo of it in this movie when they show her with the soldiers.
They're shooting the movie right now.
Also, there's been a few screenshots here and there, photos of her
Steve Trevor
filming.
Yeah,
of her filming.
Chris Pine is Steve Trevor, Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Yes, it's already being filmed. If you look around on the net, you'll find screenshots of it everywhere. I
was also thinking of another plot point, possibly. Like in the animated TV show of the Justice League, we obviously had season 1 was basically just the main 6 characters, and then obviously after that we had all the other characters join them. They could do that with the DC. After DC Legends Tomorrow finishes, have like Atom and whoever's left of that. I don't know. I actually need to catch up on that. But go on.
Well, that'd be weird. The thing is, when it comes to like introducing more Justice League members, the movie has to make money for it to put money in it to bring in new characters. So this movie made its money back. Next year, the Wonder Woman comes out, and I forgot the date of the Justice League. They both Wonder Woman is in its own entity. The Justice League, when it comes out, that has to make money. If not,
I was going to say
this. It's funny. You can't even call it a failure. It made its money back.
Yeah.
This negativity this movie did. The director, the person who was going to direct the Flash, he left. He left directing it. It was announced yesterday. He left. He's leaving the film. So the only thing they're going to keep is the script he wrote. So now another rumor is that the person who's supposed to direct Aquaman, he might leave too. They might leave.
Do you think any of the films will fail? Like the only thing I don't know if Shazam. I don't know what's going to happen with Shazam because obviously
that's a lot of years for that one. The thing is, Wonder Woman's already going to be coming out next year, so we got to wait to see how much money.
I don't think Shazam will do that well.
If the movie is good or bad, it depends on how much money it makes. That's going to be the big test. It's the money it makes.
And that's the thing. It's easy to crap on it, but I think the main problem is the script had glaring sort of holes in the staging to it, and I think what DC need to do is they need to get away from Zack Snyder as a director. To be honest with you, you had Hobo Superman in the first movie. and that didn't work. It's basically they've tried so hard to get away from, and because it's a classic still to this day, the Christopher Reeve movies. They've tried so hard to get away from that, to do something different from Superman, that you're getting away from where the character is. And that spills over into this. Times get tough for Superman. Superman has a mood on. He doesn't like it, so he's going to go away and just go back to being a hobo. So he's hiking in the mountains, and all of a sudden he sort of like loses the plot and sees a ghost of his dead dad. And his mum says, "Oh, well, yeah, you don't owe this planet anything." Well, that's a real great positive influence on your child. Yeah, screw them, let them all die and everything like that. That's not the best way to do it. The idea is that Superman is supposed to be an archetype. He's supposed to be, he's in essence the Captain America of the DC universe. He's the Boy Scout. He's the one that can do no wrong, and is the thing that you look up to, you aspire to be. And that's the problem. They try to make him flawed, and that's where it falls apart.
Yep.
There's a great movie in there. There really is, but they bogged it down with so much unnecessary shit. It's just hard to get at. All right, go ahead, AJ. You had your hand up again.
Sorry. 3 or 4 things that I totally hated in the movie. One is Lex Luthor. He sounds like a carpet cleaning salesman. All right. Whenever he's talking, the way he moves, he's a carpet cleaning salesman, all right? 2, the title fight, Batman versus Superman, lasts 8 minutes, and it was a bollocks fight. It was all shoving and pushing and throwing things at each other. 3 was, bloody hell, it was number 3.
Doomsday?
Sorry?
Doomsday?
No, not Doomsday. The Revelation of Martha, okay? I can already see
the magic word of the day is Martha.
Yeah.
That's her safe word.
The next Batman and Superman movie is going to be Batman Superman, The Search for Team Martha. And basically, if your mum's name isn't Martha, you're not in the team. Forget it.
You know what the quickest
characters then?
You know what the quickest fix to this movie would have been if you're going to take out Jesse Eisenberg, get rid of the villain and all that. The perfect villain for the plot line they established for this movie would have been Don King. I'm going to set up the fight of the century, baby, and we're going to charge tickets so people can stand in skyscrapers, and I'm going to back both fighters as usual.
Just the whole thing, the whole Martha thing in the movie was terrible.
There have been some weirder crossovers from the DC universe.
You mean the cameos that showed up in the movie?
No. I mean in general, there have been some weird cameos, or weird guest stars, or crossovers. Yeah. So it wouldn't. Again, Brian's idea is actually quite cool.
Like Richard Pryor and Liberace.
I was really glad to see Jason Momoa show up as Aquaman, because I loved him in Stargate Atlantis. So good.
Look at my mom.
I mean, they did a good cameo. That was pretty quick. That was not bad to do that. But again, you have to be a person who read the comics to realize that the cyborg character is staying alive because his father is using Doc's apocalypse technology from a boom cube, a mother box. Yeah. And then you have to be a reader of the comics to figure that out. I mean,
the only thing you know is that footage is from Star Labs. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner, yeah.
No Harrison Wells. I'm disappointed.
And how on earth? Luckily, Lex Luthor has come up with all the logos for all the meta humans. To be honest with you, so at least that saves some money on marketing, really.
Well, he's a billionaire genius.
Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, no, there wasn't any Green Lantern. I suppose they're waiting for a bit later, but as long as it won't be Ryan Reynolds.
Well,
Actually, Ryan Reynolds was good as Deadpool. I'll take
yeah,
that
he's
back.
gonna be doing a second Deadpool before he does another Green Lantern movie.
Yeah, he's already been slotted for that. That's already been.
Well, I heard. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but apparently, I don't know if it's which way around it is, but apparently, Spider-Man or Deadpool will be in. I can't remember. I think it's Spider-Man's going to be in Deadpool, and apparently they're trying to push Deadpool into the Marvel, into the actual, ones made by the actual studios. I don't know how much money it's going to cost, but apparently it's going to. That's what they're trying to push.
You
But
see,
that's a different thing because see, the
That's
X-Men,
that's
the
Marvel.
X-Men line is Fox. So no, that's
Yeah, true. I mean, I suppose they could have it as cameo or a mention in Infinity War.
We can get to that when we do what do you call it, Apocalypse.
the Captain America one.
Oh, no, when we do the what do you call it, X-Men Age of Apocalypse movie. Well, sooner or later we're
That comes out in the summer. The one that comes out this week is Captain America Civil War.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. This
I
week's
saw it today.
this coming
Yeah.
out.
Are we gonna do that? Are we gonna do an Omega Files for that one?
If we get enough people to get out to the theater and watch it, then we'll see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay, so as I said, it had the potential to be a great movie, a lot of great performances, but then again, there was a lot of great performances in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and look at all they were. And the problem is they bogged it down with too much crap. You didn't need Apocalypse, or you could have left that to an entire whole movie on its own. You didn't need Lex Luthor in this movie at all. You could have had a series of circumstances that led to these two characters, without even involving teenage Joker. I'm tired of the internet millionaire persona replacing all the decent villains that are out there in particular movies. It's gotten to be cliche. It's gotten to be done. Oh, you've got to be a young internet millionaire type in order to be. Yeah. Look at how well that worked for what was it? One of the Fantastic Four movies they did that.
Last year's.
Yeah, that one from last year. Yeah, that really worked. So
That was shit.
let's rate the sucker and put it to bed because we've been going on for a bit. Whether you love it or hate it, like I said, I'm going to start off and just get it over with. So I'm going to lead into the rest of you guys. I'm giving this sucker a dead solid 4.5 because at the heart of it, there was a great performances. There was the chance for a great movie, and then they tried to take 2 or 3 other plot lines and slam it all into one movie, which bogs it down and just makes it, unwatchable. It was just too much unnecessary stuff in there. Like I said, it had the potential for a great movie. Affleck actually surprised the living hell out of me. He did an excellent Batman. He was phenomenal. Jeremy Irons, phenomenal. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, phenomenal. Even Henry Cavill shocked me in a few places in this movie. But the problem is they stuck them in a bunch of plot lines that were just got to the point it was like exhausting. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go around in random order. Let's start with, let's get to the sunny side of it. Nightwing, out of 10, how do you rate this movie?
4. I agree with you. There was too many plot points, unneeded characters. Yeah, some of the actors did surprise, but that was just because I went in with me not really knowing that much about some of them, but obviously a lot of them were like, again, not some of the characters weren't needed. Actors did really well. I mean, we should have had more movies with all the plot points split up into those movies. So 4. I mean, that's just being generous.
Okay, before I go on, I forgot to mention this, and I had this saved for this. Okay, according to Box Office Mojo, as of right now, this movie has grossed $856,247,593 as of April 29th. That's worldwide. So there's going to be another one. They've already got the groundwork laid for it, so hopefully they'll do better in Justice League. Okay, moving on. Susan.
I was going to give it higher, but I've actually adjusted my thinking. Thanks you guys for sharing with me. I think I'm gonna give it a 7 and not any higher because I also see the extra chains on the storyline, but I loved the conflicts, and I loved the evil politician lady. The Senator Holly Hunter did so well. I didn't see Margot Kidder, but I probably won't search for that too hard anyway. But I really like the Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I am so thrilled to have Wonder Woman coming to the screen. One of my friends was like, "We gotta start getting into Wonder Woman," like 6-7 years ago, and so I started, and I'm thrilled by that whole next movie that's coming out, I guess, next year. So that's impetus enough for me to give it a 7.
Okay, Beefhead.
If I was going to put a number on it, I will put a 6 on it. The script, there are moments in the script that are good, but the thing is, you've got set pieces, and where they try to stitch it together, that's where it falls apart, and that's the script's falling. Directorship by Zack Snyder, there are scenes that play out really well. They look really good. But a lot of it is, there's so much bogged down with the idea of the sort of God, Messiah references to it and everything like that, that just, it detracts from it, and it is a massively long movie. The acting I cannot fault, to be honest with you, with the exception of Jesse Eisenberg, because it is just wrong. It's just wrong. The rest of the characters, but standout is definitely Gal Gadot's brilliant in the fight scene. They've really realised Wonder Woman well. When she takes the knock and there's that little smile to it, and because her character loves violence, that's good. That's done well. And Ben Affleck, I knew he was going to be good, and he was. He did not disappoint, and nor did Jeremy Irons. They were fantastic. Perry White was disappointing because he just spoke in headlines for the most part. He just shouted headlines at people for every time he was on screen, which was a bit crap. But they just try to shoehorn so much into this. It's a nightmare. You don't know whether it's going to be Injustice they're going to do for the next movie because of the Flash thing. There's so much dreams, so much symbolism that it drags it down. It stretches it out too much, and they've tried to shoehorn so much in. So, yeah. And the other thing that I will say, because it's always hard to talk about a DC movie without making comparisons to Marvel, but this is where Marvel got it right. There is no real humour in this film. Sometimes you have to have a bit of a light-hearted element to underplay the drama or the tension to it, and there isn't anything in this. This is a pretty joyless movie, apart from Bruce Wayne pretending to be drunk and making a nice little off-the-cuff line, which was probably improvised about, hey, nice shoes. There's no real jokes in this movie, because if you're counting on Lex Luthor to be a comedy element, it falls flat.
All right, how many here, when you first saw Perry White with Larry Fishburne playing him, I thought for a second he was going to go, if you take the blue pill, you're going to be backing the Cape Crusader known as Batman. If you take Okay, AJ.
Hang on, camera. No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep, all right. That's my rating there right there.
A 3.
Yeah, I'm sorry, especially the end of the movie where Superman dies and then is in his grave. Someone throws the dirt on the grave, and the dirt slowly starts to float up. Bollocks. Sorry, but bollocks.
Okay, and you, William?
Okay, I'm gonna sort of give it in a 6.5. It just passes, but just barely. But like I said, you need somebody. Get somebody in charge of the DC cinematic universe, because if you don't, what's gonna happen is after Wonder Woman and then the Justice League, you might not be able to make any more movies, because that's how bad it's gonna be. And I gotta another thing. I know that all of us saying that the movie was a little too long, 2.5 hours, but I have seen movies that's longer than that, like Ben-Hur, the Ten Commandments, like that. But the thing is, they had a great plot flowing straight through it, and you didn't notice the length of time. But this one, so they cut so many times in different scenes. You're like, man, I can't wait to get out of here. That's how people. That's how the attitude was. It's weird.
Sorry, I heard a rumor. Apparently, the movie is supposed to be actually 4 hours long.
Yeah, I heard 3.5. Again, when the DVD comes out, we find out how the
All
whole
right.
thing.
Yeah, they put this out like yesterday. 3 hours 8 minutes is
Oh,
going to be the R-rated cut.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, 188 minutes.
Is it going to show?
188 minutes of. No, I'm sorry. No, it's just like I said, there was a lot of great parts in this movie, but it was still bogged down with too much shit. There's this. All I can say is this: Zack Snyder. I know you're likely not watching, but you're never going to be Joss Whedon. Could you please just retire? I'm not kidding. You're never after what you did to Dawn of the Dead. I'm still never going to forgive you.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
Okay. Well, folks, until next week, like I said, actually, next week we're going to take a week off. And then when we come back, we're going to be doing Unit Extinction.
Remember, we got to take next week up with this free comic book day.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, because with Unit Extinction, that combines the unit with the new unit, old characters, classic, all that gets mashed up. It's really nice because you got Gemma Redgrave coming in as Kate Stewart, you got Ingrid Oliver coming in as whatever shit, Zygon, not Oswald, whatever, and and so lots of interesting stuff in that. So I figure we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So also coming, like I said, I've been talking about this kind of on and off in what videos I did this week. June 3rd, we're going to be recording the Q&A with Sophie Aldred's returning. So really looking forward to that. Okay, so until week after next, everybody take care, buy bonds, and eat lots of oats.
See you.